Well, I grew up on Long Island, born in '56, and youngest kid of 5 kids. And so through the '60s, as a little kid growing up, I really was exposed to a lot of music that my older siblings were really living through. So the original rock and roll, Motown, soul music, British Invasion, the beginnings of what became rock music. And my parents were of the jazz age, so there was jazz music in the house all the time. So I'm kind of, a sum total of all that. Those are my influences. My mother plays piano. Yeah.
So you heard her playing all along and you were...
Yeah, we grow up sitting at the piano with her and messing around. None of us were really good piano players. Certainly not as good as my mom was. So, and everybody except for myself and my brother had forced piano lessons. One of my sisters wound up being a folk guitarist, and that was the first time I saw a member of the family, as a little kid, perform in front of an audience. And I think that I was attracted to it, and I was frightened at the same time, seeing your sister, in front of a crowd of people playing something that you used to hear her, write in her bedroom. And I understood what that performance anxiety is all about, and the idea of the show that she prepared for it. Now she's doing it in front of people. She's sharing innermost thoughts and feelings with a crowd of people. I was just sort of like, the whole thing was just a beautiful experience for me to watch that happen. And I think all those little things, they, you may think it's that one night that where you catch the bug, the performance bug, but I think it's a lot of little things. It adds up. And I started playing drums at 9, and I took lessons for 2 years, and then took a break from being a musician for a while, and during that time got more and more into Hendrix, The Who, Cream, Led Zeppelin, Jethro Tull, as well as, I guess the beginnings of what was going to become country rock, I guess. And I think that, that sort of, what would you call it? It's a foundation. People call them roots, but it's more of for me, I think of it as a foundation. For me, it's really broad. And you said earlier, you're talking about the generation of players. I really see a connection between myself, players like Eddie Van Halen, Steve Vai, Randy Rhoads, Eric Johnson, Zakk Wylde. We're all the same generation. We missed the late '60s explosion of the third generation electric blues players, Hendrix, Beck, Page, Clapton, all those guys.
Right.
We were just too young for that. And then when the new music started to take over that you mentioned, it sort of was younger than us, and so we've never been what you would call classic rock because we were too young, and we were never young enough to be part of grunge and everything else that came after that. So it's kind of an interesting, but there's actually quite a lot of us, and we tour the world, and obviously there's a lot of fans that relate to us when you think about Van Halen and Zakk and Randy Rhoads. I mean, that was a whole movement. It revitalized heavy guitar playing. So I don't feel like I'm alone with sharing that foundation of roots. I think there's quite a few of us out there who decided to connect the technique with the soulful playing. And because we had guys like Leslie West to build from,
Right.
We were listening to Leslie West, and we were listening to John McLaughlin, Alan Holdsworth, and Brian May. You know what I mean?
Right.
And Hendrix and Keith Richards, and so I think that's why we come out sounding the way we do. Well, you have to be touched. The music has got to, reach inside of you. That's what it is. So the first day I heard Hendrix coming through the radio, I remember it just like it happened a few hours ago.
Wow.
And it just changed my life. It's just I heard this music, and the room was spinning, and I asked my older sister, I think it was, what is that? Who is that? And I think they thought it was kind of cute that their little brother was just sort of mesmerized by this Hendrix song, And then so they said, oh, we have this record, we'll play it for you, And then I just kept listening to it, and it was, it's like drinking the magic elixir, and it changes yourself from every little cell on out. So that's what it was. Just hearing Hendrix that first time just changed me forever.